I have a question in Ephesians 4:26, where the Lord says, "Be angry and do not sin. Do not let the sun go down on your wrath." You said in church and prayed to the Lord to deliver us from the bad temper. I am one of those people that pray to the Lord because I have been in the church for 15 years. The Lord in His infinite mercy has rescued me from a lost world in which I was in. The Lord has made a complete change in my life for those that met me from the beginning. However, I have always prayed to the Lord because in the world, I used to say that I was very strong-minded, or like we say in my country, with a very bad temper. But today I know these are not the correct words to express what happens to me, sister, because I pray to the Lord. I kneel down, cry, and plead to the Lord to deliver me of this bad temper, because sometimes I feel like an explosive person, and I do feel that it is a spirit that I have.
Yes. Yes, sister. When you feel that temper and that anger begins, at that moment, think and say, Lord, rebuke this spirit of anger that I have. Remove these demons. Remove this demon is being riled up. Rebuke it. You have to do this and flee from the argument or the moment that is making you have that anger. Flee from that situation. To leave, to remain silent and leave for some time until it passes. God is going to help you because you're making an effort. God helps, but He wants for us to make an effort because we have to make an effort. I will also tell you my testimony. I was very ill-tempered, very ill-tempered. We come from a family that is very hot-tempered. And when I would go to the sisters who would give prophecy at the time, when I met them and everything started, the church had not started yet, I went with my older sister to receive revelation with that sister because she was a prophetess. And so she would look at us and say, you come from a very hot-tempered family. What hot temper? That is what she said to us, especially to my older sister. And I said, no, why did you choose us if we are like that, so ill-tempered? Or as some might say, short-tempered, and short-tempered to the fullest. And it was horrible. And so I fought it. And every time that I was going to feel that anger, where I had that temper riled up, I remembered the words, oh, you come from a hot-tempered family. And I would say, no, Lord, you have to change me. And I ask that you change me. These are demons. Remove these demons. Remove this demon of anger. Remove this demon of hot temper. And I would fight it and tell this to the Lord. And so whenever I felt this, in order to avoid clashing with other people who would make me angry, which were in my home, I would avoid it and I would go out for a walk and I would walk and walk. I would take a deep breath. I would take a deep breath and I would reflect upon the Lord and I would think, this does not please the Lord, and so I should not feel this because if I'm seeking the things of God and seeking the spiritual gifts and I want to please the Lord, then it's not good for me to be like this. And I would reflect upon this and I fought it. It took me months and years in that fight. It wasn't a lot of years until God delivered me and helped me. And so I give thanks to the Lord. I give thanks to the Lord because I control myself. I control myself and I do not allow the devil or the demons to come to possess me and to make me angry. I do not allow it. And I simply rebuke, I remain silent. I do not speak, I don't say anything, and I go out for a walk and change the environment and all of that goes away. So I give thanks to the Lord that I have been able to control myself. And nowadays, I can say that I am no longer arrogant or rude or any of these things. I control my life because God helped me because I made an effort. Therefore, sister, do this because if you want to serve the Lord, control your anger.
Actually,
You can do
I
this.
dreamt about you 2 weeks ago because I was living a situation at home with my daughter. I feel that she has a rebellious spirit and didn't want to obey me. And that day I was very upset and went to bed and prayed to the Lord and cried and said to the Lord that I didn't want to feel this way. And the Lord allowed me to have a dream in which you arrived with another 3 sisters. You would go back to the car because something you had asked for was left behind and you couldn't find it. So you would go back, and I could see in your face that you were upset. And you said to me, "Sister, it's normal to be upset, but to avoid this, it is best to do things yourself." So with this dream, the Lord allowed me to find comfort and rest in my heart, because the next day I simply carried out the duty that I had ordered my daughter to do, which she didn't want to do. And with this, I felt the Lord deliver me because the wrath I had in my heart went away.
That is true. What the sister is saying is true. You want to know why, brothers and sisters? Because in my home with my children, I never forced them because I would ask them to help out and do this or that, and they would never listen to me. But I would not argue with them or yell at them or punish them. None of that. I did not want to be upset. And so I said, do not do anything. I will do everything myself. And I did everything because I preferred to do my things and not forcing them, getting furious, committing a sin, offending God, offending them, probably hurting them. And so I said, well, then they won't do anything. And they were happy because I never forced them to do anything. They would be happy because on Saturdays, I needed to run my errands quickly to serve breakfast and lunch, and they were still sleeping because that they did not study. So I would bring their breakfast in bed in order to serve breakfast quickly and do other things. And they were happy that I would serve them breakfast in bed and do everything, but I would do it in order to not get angry or argue with anyone. So I would do things myself. I would say, don't do anything, just stay there. And that's what I opted for. And your dream was true. It is normal for someone to get angry. It is normal. Yet, one has to be wise and avoid it. I am not going to argue with the person, with my children, because they do not obey me and argue with them. No. For me to throw a tantrum, never. I do not want to have tantrums. Do not do it. Do whatever you'd like. Just stay there. And that's it. I am not going to argue about this. Maybe I am very tolerant in that aspect, but I avoid getting upset because that does not help me. I offend God. My spiritual life becomes stagnant, and there comes a moment where you can hurt people or offend them. Wisdom above all, and, well, that is life. But there were no problems. We actually avoided many things. We avoided becoming sick. We avoided suffering, becoming bitter. At home, with conflicts among family and children, do not force them, do not make them angry, because then it becomes war. And at the end, we are not going to gain anything, and the person's going to become sick because there are people who become sick because they are always angry and always fighting. So say, let them not do anything and don't become bitter because of this. Let them be and pray to God that they themselves may react and do things on their own. That is what I have done in my life, and it works well. It worked well for me, and that helped me very much in my spiritual life. Otherwise, how would it have been? And so now I teach people, do not get bitter and let them be. If they do not want to do things, don't force them, but do not become bitter. Do not yell and insult and force, even forcing them to eat certain foods. Do not force them, do not become bitter because of this, and do not commit sin.